During the seller's property tour, take detailed notes. Luxury homes are filled with custom elements and unique amenities. It's common to have 2 or 3 pages of handwritten notes at the end of a tour. Listen carefully to the seller. It may be the only time you hear about specific features and dates of installation. If there is something you'd like to take a picture of, ask for the seller's permission. In places where there is a lot of information, like mechanical rooms, a picture where you can see the equipment specs is extremely valuable for later on. Make notes to yourself about property conditions. Spiderweb in guest suite corner. Water stains on bedroom window. Burned out light bulb on patio. These will be used in your property review that will be delivered with a pricing analysis. Also, take notes about great photo angles and the sun orientation. For homes with large trees, you will want to take photos when there are the fewest shadows, and the time of day might be different for the front elevation versus the backyard pool. In preparation of the listing appointment, you should have gathered and printed every piece of information you can find on the home. Title docs, plats, tax records, assessor data, warranty deeds, association restrictions, and past MLS listings with all pictures. You should have reviewed and studied them so you can make intelligent comments during the tour. For example, this room was white back in 2019. The big maple tree has been removed. This was the last owner's exercise room. Your level of detail is to impress the seller. If they mention anything about the lot size, boundaries, or surrounding development, pull out a copy of the plat and take notes. If the seller mentions anything about restrictions or covenants, you can pull out the recorded documents and use them as a reference. There will be many times when the seller will ask if they can have a copy of the plat or the homeowner's docs. When they do, give it to them on the spot. When the tour is almost done, it's now time to set the expectation for the next conversation. Say this: you have an amazing home. I love feature 1, feature 2, and feature 3. These are items that will increase the value and get a buyer's attention. Can we go back to where we were sitting before and talk about the listing process and price? At this moment, the sellers get enthusiastic. What they want to talk about more than anything, even at the luxury level, is price and commission. Before you go there, you will lead in by talking about fiduciary. Start with this subject and make your point. Very few, if any, of your competitors are doing this. It builds trust and sets a consultative tone for the rest of the appointment. As the conversation continues, keep looking for clues about the seller's motivation. Do they need to sell or do they want to sell? Do they have an urgency or are they just testing the market? Watch for any indications, even those that are nonverbal. Many times, one spouse will be talking and the other will do something revealing. For instance, when the husband says, "We don't have to move," and the wife gives you the 2-second eye roll. The sellers at this point will be more anxious than ever to ask about commission and what you think their home is worth. The commission conversation is an entirely different training. What we will focus on here is the pricing discussion. The seller will say, "So, what do you think our home is worth?" Or, "What can we expect to get from our home?" Let's pause right here. This is a very, very important step. Resist any temptation to talk about price, even a price range. Now, this will be hard, and the seller will be persistent. They may even throw out a number and ask if you agree with it. For example, "We were thinking 2.3 million as a list price. What do you think?" Do not fall for this trap. It's the mistake of many amateurs, the same ones who regret it later. At these moments, you have one response and one response only. You have an incredible property, and I need time to process everything I have seen. Generalizing a price range right now is a disservice. Correct pricing is too important in today's market. Allow me to carefully review relevant sales and talk to other agents with competing homes to ask about buyer demand. I'll then do a comprehensive analysis and get back to you tomorrow to discuss. Tell the seller you will also need time to create the property review. This is the 1 or 2 page document that bullet points items that will maximize the photogenic qualities of the home. This is where you'll put any observations from your walkthrough. Things like clean spider webs, replace burned out bulb, power wash pool deck, etc. This is the time to ask the important question. While I prepare my analysis, is there any particular or notable sale you would like me to consider? This is important because it allows the seller to feel like they are part of the pricing process. Next, ask the seller if they would like you to return in person to have the pricing strategy conversation or if a phone call works better. Then, set the time right there for the following day or a day of the seller's choosing. The best way to wrap up the listing appointment is this question, which is usually asked at the front door as you are about to walk out and say your goodbyes. What criteria are you using to pick a listing agent? Pause and let them answer. As you walk back to your car, you should feel good. Your goal was to uncover the seller's motivation, their timing, knowledge of the current marketplace, and for you to get an understanding of the property. You can now thoroughly review all of your notes and look at market data in preparing the property review and pricing analysis. Another reason you don't want to talk about price at the listing appointment is you may have been too caught up in the moment to notice a critical flaw. Things you might only know by being at the actual property. This is something about the home that is unchangeable. For example, lack of privacy, bedrooms without bathtubs, an undersized kitchen, road or airplane noise, site drainage, overhead power lines, or a totally bizarre feature. Characteristics you will only know about by seeing the property in person, yet things that may be an issue for a new buyer. Another thing, once you give a price, even a price range, it's hard to go back. That number is all the seller remembers. If you try to revise your pricing downward at a later time, the seller will say, "But you said..." Follow these steps in the listing process and you will win luxury listing appointments. Again, superior efforts produce superior results. This is the influential conversation. You have an incredible property, and I'll need time to process everything I have seen. Generalizing a price right now is a disservice. Correct pricing is too important in today's market. Allow me to carefully review relevant sales and talk to other agents with competing homes to ask about buyer demand. Then I'll do a comprehensive analysis and get back to you tomorrow to discuss. You've been presented another high-level technique of luxury real estate to add to your repertoire. It's always about premium service, and pricing a home is no different. Take the time that is needed to do this step correctly. The luxury client will respect you for it. Let's do this.